Hello everyone. On the 31st of October, the Turkish media crackdown reached the Cumhuriyet newspaper, which is the oldest secular newspaper in the country. Police raided the homes of its editor-in-chief and some of its columnists. 9 of them were later arrested, including the editor-in-chief. They were accused of committing crimes on behalf of the terror organizations FETÖ and PKK without membership in those thereof. This is important because it signifies a new level that Erdogan regime has reached. Some people were surprised by the absurdity of these accusations and trying to argue why Cumhuriyet cannot possibly be linked to the Hizmet movement. But I'm afraid this rhetoric is the main reason why we are where we are today. Eren Erdem, a member of parliament, has tweeted about a prosecutor complaining about how he was blackmailed into opening a case as he would have been arrested otherwise as a terrorist. So what does this mess tell us? 1. When it's about Turkey, just take the facts and leave the rumors. 2. Take the government's narrative about the culprit with a pinch of salt. Let me explain my point with a short history of Turkey. To make it easy, I will divide it into 5 periods. First, in the 90s, society was divided mainly into 2 groups, seculars and conservatives. Erdogan, a political Islamist who was the prime minister at the time, was forced to resign by the military. A headscarf ban was introduced. Thousands of people were blacklisted and financially oppressed. Many businesses had to close down. All this oppression created a reaction, which is the second part. The year 2002, AK Party emerged as a new political actor in Turkish politics with the support of various peripheral groups of Turkish society. Erdogan was the champion of democracy who fought against the status quo, corruption, and military tutelage in this period. He pinned all the bad things in the country to the secularists. In the third period, in 2007, the Ergenekon case started. Erdogan proclaimed he was the prosecutor of that case. In his words, the Ergenekon terror organization was behind all the heinous crimes, assassinations, and the plots against the nation. Erdogan adopted a series of reforms which essentially undermined the military tutelage and tipped the balance of power in favor of bureaucracy. Some argued that the Ergenekon and Balyos trials were instrumental to this process. 774 people, mostly from military bureaucracy, were arrested and tried in the next 5 years. Some of these people were innocent, and the justice system failed to identify this at the time. Then the fourth period, because the third period ended with a political scandal in 17th of December 2013. Turkey witnessed the biggest corruption allegation in its history. Erdogan claimed that the allegations were untrue and the investigation was a Gülenist coup attempt. In March 2014, a couple of months later, Ergenekon suspects and those who were convicted were released from a prison with a special legislation. In this new period, Erdogan demonized Hizmet movement and pinned all the bad things this time in the country to them. He sacked thousands of people and imprisoned hundreds. He convinced Ergenekon suspects, Kemalists and secularists with this new discourse, but he never proved any of his allegations. Then the July 15 coup attempt has happened. Erdogan immediately blamed Fethullah Gülen. No surprise there. He claimed anyone affiliated with Gülen is a traitor. The government purged more than 100,000 people and imprisoned more than 35,000 so far. Some people didn't mind the persecution of Hizmet because they thought once the Gülenists were removed from the bureaucracy, everything would be fine. But the government used this as a tool and destroyed democratic institutions and silenced political voices. Just last week, many Kurdish politicians were arrested and media outlets were shut down. Any social or political group which may criticize Erdogan and his authoritarianism is getting crushed. I think there are 4 things to note from all of this. 1. Turkish democracy is much worse than it has been in the past. The state of emergency is gradually becoming the norm of the country. 2. Erdogan uses the social division. His influence grows through this division. His aim is a presidential system which consolidates further power in his hands. 3. His accusations leveled against Hizmet and others have been instrumental to this political ambition. 4. Erdogan's narrative on Hizmet has divided groups and crippled the potential of a united social opposition against him. This further weakened the fragile democracy in the country and made Erdogan's job very easy. These are my thoughts. Let me know what you think.